We have a great piece of video this morning from the beleaguered crew over at Morning Joe that not only captures, well, a prominent senator, as you're about to see, dodging and parrying her way through the halls of Capitol Hill, but as I was prepping this, I noticed something first in the first clip that's worth paying attention to. The Secretary of Defense nominee, Pete Hegseth, he offers in that early clip a rationale that's worth examining considering the recent sexual allegations levied against him. Tell me what you think in the comments. What is the complication that he refers to in combat? Serving your country as opposed to serving your libido? I don't know. But he flips in the second one, and that sets into motion this great video, which also sets into motion Senator Joni Ernst, who earnestly tries to evade reporters in this hilarious Morning Joe presentation of the Aerosmith classic, Lovin' an Elevator.
Pushed that under Obama in a way that had nothing, zero to do with efficacy, zero to do with lethality and capability.
You don't like women in combat?
No.
Why not?
I love women service members who contribute amazingly because everything about men and women serving together makes the situation more complicated, and complication in combat means casualties are worse.
I also want an opportunity here to clarify comments that have been misconstrued that I somehow don't support women in the military. Some of our greatest warriors, our best warriors out there are women who serve, raise their right hand to defend this country and love our nation, want to defend that flag, and they do it every single day around the globe. So I'm not presuming anything, but after President Trump asked me to be his Secretary of Defense, should I get the opportunity to do that, I look forward to being a secretary for all our warriors, men and women, for the amazing contributions they make in our military.
So women in the military, of course, very different than women in combat, which you saw him talking about in the soundbite before, and he was extremely against women in combat. He made that very clear. And, of course, there are many women serving this country in that capacity. Donald Trump's pick for Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, last night attempting to soften comments he has made about women's ability to fight on the front lines. But he didn't. He just separated from it. Hegseth will be back on Capitol Hill today to meet with Republican senators. He says he is meeting with Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska today and with Senator Susan Collins of Maine tomorrow. It comes after he sat down for a second time yesterday with a key lawmaker, Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa. Last week, she was hesitant to support the former Fox News host who has been accused of sexual assault, abusing alcohol, and financial mismanagement of two nonprofits dedicated to veterans, all of which he denies. But yesterday, Senator Ernst had a different tone about Hegseth, releasing a statement praising him for his responsiveness and respect for the process and calling their conversations encouraging. Here's what she had to say about the meeting when pressed by reporters.
Does that say you're supporting him?
So I am supporting him through this process, and I'll just refer you back to the statement.
Is that a yes vote on the floor?
You can change your mind.
It was a very productive meeting, though. I think we're just moving through the process. But he does respect that I'm taking the time.
Did you talk to him about the allegations? Did you talk to him about the allegations as well, Senator?
Thank you, guys. I'll refer back to my statement.
Did he commit? He said supporting the process. It doesn't sound like you're a yes yet. Is that fair?
I am supporting the process.
Did he commit to keeping women in their current roles in the military?
He is very supportive of women in the military. It is one thing that we discussed.
So he's changed his position? He's changed his position on that?
Memo to self, John. When you're being chased by reporters on the Senate side of Capitol Hill, do not take the freight elevator.
Take the stairs. Because that elevator door, you could see the aide growing panicked about why. Try to hit the door closed
button. They kept getting in the...
I think the reporter had a hand in, I think. That's a pro tip. Pro tip.
Is that a pro tip?
On that side of the Capitol, put your hand in.
Right,
some people are good at gaggles, and other people are... Some people are like pro-gagglers, and some people are...
the person who's already talking now, even though we haven't introduced him. NBC News national affairs analyst and a partner and chief political columnist at Puck, John Howman's here. And NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent, and the new host of Way Too
It's all
Early.
very exciting.
Ali Vitale.
So Ali, let's start with you on the Hill. We've been hearing through our sources over the past week or so that there are up to 6 Republican senators who are no votes on Hegseth. And John, I think your reporting matches the same, right?
Yes.
And right now, they are just waiting for Hegseth, in the words of REM, to feel gravity's pull, much in the same way. You like that? Much in the same way that Gates did. And you listen to Joni Ernst, again, I find it impossible, hard to believe she would ever support him given everything in his background. But yesterday she said, had a good meeting, we respect the process, we'll play this out until the end. What's your read with Joni Ernst and also those Republicans that are still hard-nosed but aren't saying anything?
So there are the Republicans that are hard-nosed that you guys are referring to, and you're right that the unofficial whip count stands at about 6. But there are plenty of Republicans, including in the president-elect's orbit, who are hoping that it's not the gravity you're talking about, but instead the gravity we talk about in Wicked, where he'll be defying gravity. And I'm sorry for the pun, but we've got a lot of time still to go on this kind of a confirmation battle. It's early in the process, and I think that's either going to work in Hegseth's favor because he'll be able to continue to have these kinds of meetings that go from productive and frank, is how I think Ernst was initially describing the tone of their conversations last week, to now she's supporting him through the process. And Lemire and I were talking about this on Way Too Early. The idea that she's had a clear tone shift is notable. The way that she's talking about in that last answer, how she didn't say anything about Hegseth committing to keep women in their current roles in the military, specifically that reporter trying to get at the idea of combat. Instead, Joni Ernst just said he's very supportive of women in the military. She said it's one thing we talked about. Clearly, he was not always in that stance. I mean, I don't think we should let anyone rewrite history, but it does give us a good sense of the way that Hegseth is trying to at least soften the image that he came into Capitol Hill with. And as much as I think we're seeing Ernst say she's supportive of the process, that's not saying I'm supportive of the man, at least not yet. It's saying I'll let him continue doing these meetings. I'm not going to be the next person, or at least the first person, to publicly tank the nomination. And I think that's important, just giving him the space, and they'll see where it ends up. But that confirmation hearing is going to be bruising and brutal.